Hey there, smart garden family. Welcome back to the channel. If you're tired of spending hours in your garden only to harvest a handful of vegetables that barely last a week, then today's video is going to completely transform how you think about growing your own food. Imagine a single plant that could feed your family for months, out-yield almost everything in your garden bed, and provide incredible health benefits at the same time. Sounds too good to be true? Well, stick with me because we're diving deep into one of the most underrated high-yielding superfoods you've probably never heard of, and by the end of this guide, you'll be wondering why this wasn't the first thing you ever planted. What if I told you there's a single crop that could fundamentally transform your entire garden's productivity, out-yielding almost everything you've ever planted while simultaneously improving your health? We're not talking about another variety of tomato or a slightly improved strain of squash. This is something entirely different, something that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries but has somehow remained a secret outside of South American gardens. This remarkable root vegetable can produce an absolutely staggering harvest from just a single plant, often yielding 15 to 20 pounds or more of delicious, edible tubers from one initial planting. Compare that to your average potato plant, which might give you 3 to 5 pounds if you're lucky, and you'll start to understand why this crop deserves a prime spot in every serious gardener's plot. Let me introduce you to yuccan, scientifically known as Smolanthus sonchifolius, a perennial root vegetable that originates from the Andes mountains of South America. This member of the daisy family produces tuberous roots that resemble sweet potatoes in appearance, with tan, sometimes pinkish or yellowish skin, but that's where the similarity ends. When you slice into a yuccan tuber, you'll discover crisp, white to pale yellow flesh that's remarkably juicy and refreshing. The name yuccan comes from an Inca word meaning water root, which perfectly describes its incredibly high water content and thirst-quenching properties. Unlike starchy root vegetables that can feel heavy and filling, yuccan has a light, crisp texture similar to a water chestnut or jicama, but with a delightfully sweet flavor that tastes like a cross between apple, pear, and watermelon. The yield potential of yuccan is genuinely impressive and often catches even experienced gardeners by surprise. A single yuccan plant can produce anywhere from 10 to 25 individual tubers, with total weights ranging from 15 to 25 pounds per plant under good growing conditions. When you consider that yuccan plants are typically spaced about 70 centimeters apart, you can achieve yields of several hundred pounds from a relatively small growing area. This dramatically outperforms traditional root crops like carrots, beets, and even potatoes on a per square foot basis. Additionally, because yuccan is a perennial plant, it gets more productive with each passing year as the crown grows larger and produces more stems, meaning your second and third year harvest will be even more abundant than your first. While the impressive yields alone would make yuccan worthy of garden space, its nutritional profile elevates it from merely productive to genuinely revolutionary. Yuccan stores carbohydrates as indigestible sugars called fructooligosaccharides, or FOS, instead of starch. This unique characteristic makes yuccan extraordinarily special because these sugars pass through your digestive system without being absorbed, meaning you get all the sweet flavor with almost none of the calories or blood sugar impact. For people managing diabetes or watching their sugar intake, yuccan provides a rare opportunity to enjoy naturally sweet food without the typical metabolic consequences. The FOS content typically ranges from 6 to 12% of fresh weight, giving yuccan its pleasant sweetness while maintaining its status as a low glycemic food. The prebiotic properties of yuccan's FOS content represent another significant health benefit that sets this superfood apart. You know, the culinary versatility of yuccan makes incorporating it into your diet both easy and enjoyable. Most commonly, yuccan is eaten raw, sliced thin, and added to salads where its crisp texture and sweet flavor provide a refreshing contrast to leafy greens. And, hey, you can substitute yuccan for apples in traditional recipes like Waldorf salad, or just peel and slice it up as a healthy snack that satisfies sweet cravings without the guilt. Starting your yuccan journey is surprisingly straightforward, even for gardeners who've never grown anything more exotic than tomatoes. Yuccan is propagated from rhizomes, those knobbly reddish tubers that form at the base of the plant's stems, not from the large edible tubers themselves. In March, as spring approaches, you'll want to separate these rhizomes, making sure each piece has at least one visible growth point or bud. You can start them indoors in pots or in a polytunnel to give them a head start on the growing season, or if you live in a warmer climate with a long growing season, you can plant them directly in the garden once the soil is warmed and all danger of frost has passed. Choose a sunny location with deep, humus-rich soil that drains well, as yacon plants can grow quite tall, often reaching 6 to 8 feet in height, and they'll need strong root development to support that impressive top growth. Before planting, amend your soil generously with compost and a balanced general fertilizer to provide the nutrients yacon needs for maximum tuber production. Plant the rhizomes with the growth tip just at or slightly below the surface of the soil, spacing plants at least 70 centimeters apart to give them room to develop. Yacon appreciates consistent moisture throughout the growing season, so water regularly, especially during dry periods, but ensure the soil drains well to prevent rot. The plants are remarkably pest and disease resistant, making them a low-maintenance addition to your garden that won't require constant vigilance or intervention. To encourage the development of large, plentiful tubers, maintain soil fertility throughout the growing season with periodic applications of compost or a balanced fertilizer. The plants will grow vigorously through summer, developing tall, lush foliage that can provide attractive screening or background planting in ornamental gardens. In late summer or fall, usually around September or October depending on your climate, yacon will produce small, daisy-like yellow flowers, signaling that the tubers below ground are reaching maturity. After flowering, or when a hard frost threatens, it's time to harvest your bounty. Harvesting yacon is like going on a treasure hunt in your own backyard, and the rewards are substantial. Start by cutting back the plant's foliage to about 6 inches above ground level. Using a garden fork rather than a spade reduces the risk of accidentally slicing through tubers. Carefully dig around the plant in a wide circle, then gently lift the entire root mass from the soil. You'll discover clusters of large, elongated tubers attached to the central crown by thin connecting stems. Gently snap or cut these edible tubers away from the crown, being careful to keep the reddish rhizomes attached to the crown intact for next year's planting. Freshly harvested yacon tubers aren't at their best immediately after digging. The sugars need time to develop and concentrate, so cure your harvest by laying the tubers out in a shaded, well-ventilated area for about a week. This curing period allows excess moisture to evaporate while the tubers continue to convert some of their FOS into sweeter-tasting sugars, significantly improving flavor. After curing, store yacon tubers in a cool, dark place with good air circulation. Unlike potatoes, yacon tubers have thin skin and higher water content, so they're more perishable, typically lasting several weeks to a few months in proper storage. For longer-term preservation, consider processing some of your harvest into yacon syrup, which stores much longer than fresh tubers. Don't discard those reddish rhizomes attached to the crown after harvest. These are your seed stock for next year's crop and represent the key to yacon's perennial nature and increasing productivity. Store the rhizomes out of direct sunlight, covered with slightly damp sand or sawdust, in a dark, cool, but not freezing location. Check them periodically through winter to ensure they're not drying out completely or getting too wet. Come spring, you'll be able to divide these rhizomes into multiple planting pieces, exponentially expanding your yacon patch without spending another penny. Incorporating yacon into your garden represents more than just adding another crop to your rotation. It's a fundamental shift toward greater food security, improved nutrition, and genuine self-sufficiency. A small yacon patch producing hundreds of pounds of fresh, healthy food can dramatically reduce your grocery bills while providing your family with a unique superfood that most people never have access to. The low-maintenance nature of yacon means it's producing impressive yields without demanding the intensive care that many annual vegetables require, freeing up your time for other garden tasks or simply enjoying the fruits of your labor. The perennial nature of yacon also contributes to more sustainable gardening practices. Rather than tilling and replanting the same space every single year, yacon establishes itself, improves the soil with its extensive root system, and actually becomes more productive with each passing year. This really aligns perfectly with regenerative agriculture principles and, reduces the environmental impact of your garden. Plus, the surplus from productive yakan plants gives you some wonderful opportunities for sharing with neighbors, contributing to local food security, and building community connections around fresh, healthy food. So there you have it, Smart Garden family, the secret is out. Yakan represents a true revolution in home food production, offering extraordinary yields, remarkable health benefits, and surprisingly easy cultivation. Whether you're a beginning gardener looking for reliable, productive crops, or an experienced grower hoping to maximize your garden's output, yakan really deserves a place in your growing space. If you found this guide valuable and you're excited to try growing yakan yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our practical, in-depth gardening content. Share this video with your fellow gardening friends who are ready to transform their harvests, and drop a comment below letting us know if you've grown yakan before or if this will be your first year giving it a try. Now get out there and start planting your yakan patch. Your future self will thank you when you're harvesting armloads of this incredible superfood. Happy gardening, everyone!